Hey everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here to review my comics for the week. First of all, from Marvel, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man 157, Death of Spider-Man Part 2, I believe this is. Yep, Part 2. Alright, issue opens up with Spider-Man making a choice of leaving the Ultimates to do battle with Nick Fury's Avengers and head off to warn Aunt May and Gwen about Norman Osborn coming back. But in the meantime, Otto Octavius tells Osborn that he wants out. He doesn't want to be a supervillain anymore. He just wants to leave the country and become a scientist again and get back to his work. But Norman won't allow that, so he knocks Doc Ock off from a 10 stories, or at least 10 stories. And that pretty much forces Octavius to use his powers, which in the Ultimate Universe, Otto Octavius has the power of magnetism, which allows him to create his 4 arms. Then Osborn comes out and they just duke it out in the middle of Manhattan. While back in Queens, Spider-Man shows up and tells Gwen and Aunt May to get out quickly. Just get in the car and drive, and that they should leave immediately, which they do. And in the middle of Midtown, though, the fight between Manhattan, Green Goblin, unfortunately, is able to kill Otto Octavius. And MJ calls Spider-Man and tells him that she found out that they just broadcasted the fight of Osborn killing Octavius. But every other news station is pretty much focused on the battle between the Ultimates and the new Ultimate Avengers. So Spider-Man shows up to where the battle was. He sees Dr. Octopus's fried corpse, asks everyone which way they went, and he heads off in that direction. And Spider-Man actually finds the apartment that the Sinister Six Sinister Six were sort of briefly staying at, and Spider-Man flies off, heads to the bridge. He notices the Punisher with the sniper, which is aimed at Captain America, but Spider-Man quickly slingshots in the way, and boom! The quarterback is toast. And in Ultimates versus New Avengers number 3, which came out, I think last week, though I saw it at my local comic shop. I just sort of skimmed it. I didn't buy it. Pretty much this was also the last page of just Spider-Man getting shot right through the stomach. So, yeah. I don't think the that gunshot's going to kill Spider-Man, though. I mean, they've still got a lot more to deal with this story, so they'll probably just take Spider-Man and maybe just heal him maybe he'll just be knocked out for an issue, and he'll get healed, and also Cap will probably use that moment to sort of get into Nick Fury's head about what he's been doing and stuff. I haven't really been following Ultimates versus Ultimate Avengers since the first issue because I thought it was confusing. But I would definitely pick this issue up, though. Not much is happening except for the whole death of Otto Octavius, though. I'd pick it up for that. Alright, moving right along, my second and final Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man 658. Spider-Man's first adventure with the FF, the Future Foundation. Peter's with his girlfriend, Carly Cooper. The FF signal flare goes off, and Carly's cell phone rings, so they both have something to do, but Peter lies and says that he could probably just get some work done at Horizon. Peter goes to Horizon to pick up one of his suits, and when he arrives at the Baxter building, he's wearing a sort of Fantastic Four-styled Spidey costume, but it makes Sue uncomfortable and kind of makes Ben angry because they pretty much retired the Fantastic Four colors and number out of respect for Johnny. So Reed gives Spider-Man his FF uniform, which he left during the last time he was there, and Spider-Man changes and makes a comment that he looks like Anti-Venom, which was, when I first saw him in that costume, I was thinking he does look a lot like Anti-Venom. So the FF go off and go on their mission to close various time windows and stuff across the universe and everything, which leads them to Paris. And also, then they have to go to the microverse, and the last time Peter was in the microverse, a lot of time passed from the last time he was there, the last time he entered. So he pretty much leaves a message to Carly saying that he's going out of town on a business trip. And they go to they arrive in the microverse, but as they leave, though, the Psycho Man takes the core, pretty much gets their key frequency or something, and he pretty much says that now he has his own dimensional playground, in a way. So that's bad news. And the FFs then arrives in the year 3 billion to meet the Future Foundation. And while they're there, Peter sort of gets an idea to help him with his job back home, but Mr. Fantastic makes him promise not to use any future technology in the present because science needs to advance on its own. So Peter promises. And meanwhile at Horizon, Carly asks where Peter went on his trip, but they say that they haven't heard from Peter since last night. So now Carly's suspicious. Alright, this issue was a little fun read. It's classic Fantastic Four, an adventure through time and space, and it's pretty fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun reading it, and it was hilarious seeing Spider-Man, and it was sort of funny seeing Spider-Man wear the Fantastic Four costume, even if it was a little disrespectful, but, you know, I mean, it's still pretty great. I mean, personally, I like this suit better than this one, because, like Peter said, he does look like Anti-Venom. Alright, moving right along. Adventure Comics 525. Continuing the stories of the Legion Academy. Okay, the cadets that were with Chemical Kid are still on Phylon, and Chemical Kid, and basically Laura helps take care of Alchemical Kid, Alchemical Girl, that's what she's called, yeah. A criminal who has Chemical Kid's powers, but Chemical Kid thought he was the only one. And also, Lamprey and Powerboy go under their senior exams, so to speak, because they're going through a science police test scenario and being observed by Cosmic Boy to see if they're ready to join the Legion yet. But for the cadets on Phylon, though, Chemical Kid's dad apparently sold his genetic module to Black Mesa's gang so he could get his gambling debts settled. And for their story, kind of drops off after that with the heroes. And basically what happens next is Powerboy and Lamprey, yeah. Sorry, I'm not familiar with the names yet. They didn't say them that much. But Lamprey and Powerboy go through their tests, and Cosmic Boy makes a comment that they're not ready for the Legion, but they could be used on the science police special squads, though. So, not technically on the Legion, but they can graduate to something. And we'll get a backup feature featuring the Black Witch, formerly the White Witch, trying to control the spirit of Mordu, who's inside her after she absorbed Mordu and his power during the Legion of Three Worlds event. And of course, though, Black Witch is able to get some control, and we get a little teaser here about next issue being a spotlight on Bart Allen's cousin XS. Okay, I was thinking about dropping Adventure Comics, but then they said the next issue XS was going to be in it, and I was kind of curious about what she's been up to since the Legion of Three Worlds event. In case you don't know, XS is Bart Allen's cousin, aka also Barry Allen's granddaughter. So yeah, Adventure Comics, I wasn't really excited with this. You could skip it till next issue. Alright, now for, Superboy number 6, Part 5 of the Reign of Doomsday. Okay, if you're like me and you haven't been reading the Reign of Doomsday, this is what happened. Doomsday's visited Steel, Outsider, and Cyborg Superman. He's beat them all, and during the fight, he's been able to mimic some of their powers. And after Doomsday won, he pretty much took the heroes and just took them off into some sort of, and left. That's it. He's apparently taking them for something. I don't know what, but... Alright, we get a nice little conversation with Connor and Tim talking about how Connor's life has changed since he came back and stuff. That Cassie, I think this takes place after the story currently going on in Teen Titans, because Connor makes a comment that Cassie quit the Titans. Don't know what that's about, but Tim pretty much talks to Connor, and Connor says that he's thinking that lately Titans Tower has become less of a home and more of just a job, and that he thinks he needs to be somewhere else other than Smallville to sort of find his own place. And Tim makes a comment that he could probably move back to Hawaii, but Connor kind of dismisses that. And so Connor flies back to Smallville, and he sort of flies over Detroit because that's one of the places he was thinking about going to, and he gets attacked by Doomsday. Alright, and as far as Connor's supporting cast is concerned, Connor's friend Simon is visiting Ivy University in Gang of Tor by Ray Palmer, aka the Atom. And Palmer's trying to persuade Simon to join him because he's setting up this little this sort of special department for young geniuses and stuff. And while they leave the lab, apparently Psionic Lad is there. Now, back in Detroit, the battle between Superboy versus Doomsday. Needless to say, this is just pretty much the only talking going on here is Superboy's monologue, and it's pretty much a fight, and they're pretty much brawling, going at it. And apparently, however, during the fight though, Doomsday starts mimicking Superboy's tactile telekinesis. So Doomsday, Connor does his best to fight back Doomsday, but unfortunately, skadoosh! Doomsday knocks Connor unconscious, goes through some sort of space portal, and takes Connor onto a ship, and then the ship flies away. And then it says, to be continued in Action Comics number 900. Alright. Now then, the fight between Superboy and Doomsday, that was pretty sweet. It was pretty awesome to see Superboy kind of go up against the creature that killed Superman. Even though he lost, it was still a good fight. And a nice little teaser, and the whole 2-page thing featuring Simon was okay, I guess. But my favorite part of the issue wasn't really so much the fight as it was Tim and Connor kind of talking in Titans Tower and stuff. I thought that was the talk was probably my favorite part. And the fight, though, that was pretty awesome. Moving right along. Road to Flashpoint, The Flash, number 10. We learn that Hot Pursuit is Barry Allen from an alternate universe. And that Hot Pursuit is here because he's trying to stop the single greatest time anomaly to threaten reality, which could pretty much alter not only the history of this Earth, but also every other Earth as well. Well, every other alternate Earth, I should say. And Bart Allen shows up to sort of ask Flash why he didn't come to the family picnic this afternoon. And while they're talking though, Hot Pursuit pretty much says that his motorcycle runs on the Speed Force, and he's pretty much here to figure out what's going to change history and try to stop it. So Hot Pursuit drives off, and Flash tries to offer his help to Hot Pursuit, but Hot Pursuit said he works alone, and then sort of steals some of the Speed Force out of Flash so that his motorcycle will work. And while they're talking, though, Flash tells Bart that he needs to test some of the DNA he took from Hot Pursuit to be sure that he's his doppelganger. And Bart offers to help, but Barry pushes him away, saying that he needs to work alone. And so Bart's kind of wondering why Barry isn't sort of spend time with his family since he came back, and why has he been ignoring Bart? And Bart starts to think that Barry hates him. So that makes Barry feel a little bummed. And Barry tests his DNA. Turns out it's a match. And Barry's friend Patty comes back to Central City, but she's only here to sort of help him with the case. She's not back for good. And then Barry gets a call that another body has been found. He and Patty head off, and apparently it's another victim who is apparently 35, but now the body is 100 years old. So Barry starts to realize that the victims have somehow had their time stolen from them. And so he checks again, and there's a motorcycle track, which, makes you think it's probably Hot Pursuit who did this. And then they hear knocking in the crate, and there's a little boy in there that might give them some insight as to what happened. Okay. Road to Flashpoint. I think we're pretty much... This isn't too bad of a startup. We got an alternate Barry coming back saying that there's going to be a huge threat to time coming, and we've got a mysterious killer who somehow steals time from his victims and rapidly ages them. Yeah. So if you ask me, though, it's going to look like Hot Pursuit is tracking Professor Zoom, who, if any Flash fan probably knows, is responsible for all this. Okay. Flash was pretty great. Bad news, though, they are going to sort of end the Flash series with number 13, then let Flashpoint run, then I believe they're going to restart the Flash series with, like, the original numbering. Not a bad idea, if you ask me. They should probably do the same thing for Green Lantern, too. Okay, that concludes my comics for the week. Quick little recap. Flash number 10. If you plan on reading Flashpoint, pick it up. Superboy number 6. This is a great series. I love it. If you plan on getting Action Comics number 900, then I would recommend picking this up. Adventure Comics 525. I'd say skip it if you're not a die-hard Legion fan. Amazing Spider-Man 658. Fun. If you're a fan of the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man, I'd say pick it up. And Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 157. If you're going to be reading Death of Spider-Man, pick it up. Otherwise, you could skip it. Okay, and comic for the week, that would go to Amazing Spider-Man 658. So, that's all I have to say. Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.